In this video, we're going to look at the iodine clock reaction. And essentially, you're mixing two clear liquids, which will remain clear for a period of time, and then a dark solution will occur. And it's this period of time that we're waiting that gives us the iodine clock reaction. And I found at least 5 different ways to do this. In most of those, the solution is clear, then turns dark, then turns clear, then turns dark, and it reciprocates between these two until the reactants are completely used up. There is one, though, that's pretty simple, and you can do it at home, in which you mix 2 clear solutions, which remain clear for a period of time, and then, without doing anything special, that solution turns dark. To set up our iodine clock reaction as such, we need 2 containers, clear. In one of them, in solution 1, we'll call it, we'll add 128 milliliters of warm water, 500 milligrams of vitamin C, which can come from over-the-counter vitamin C tablets. You just have to look at the label. And then 12 milliliters of 10% Providine solution, which you can buy at most pharmacies. And that will add up to approximately 140 milliliters of a solution that is clear. In the second clear glass container, we're going to add 40 milliliters of hot water and 200 milligrams, not grams, 200 milligrams of cornstarch. And you need the hot water really to sort of dissolve the cornstarch. It doesn't truly dissolve, but essentially that's how you can think of it. And then in addition to this clear glass container, we're going to add 100 milliliters of 3% hydrogen peroxide, which is just over-the-counter stuff. And so solution 2 will be about 140 milliliters also. And again, both of these will be clear solutions. When you mix these 2 solutions and it turns dark, we'll go back over the chemistry here of what happens in each of these solutions. So the first one, you have the vitamin C or ascorbic acid and the 12 milliliters of 10% Providine iodine. And essentially what's happening is the vitamin C is reducing the iodine from I2 to I-, which are iodine ions, and those are clear. So in solution. And so we have a clear solution here, but it contains the iodine. Over here, we have the cornstarch and the hydrogen peroxide and the water sort of all mixed together. No real reactings occurring between these, but the solution is essentially clear. When these are mixed, the hydrogen peroxide reacts with the iodine and pulls it from I- back to I2, which would leave you with sort of an orange solution here, which is what iodine looks like, elemental iodine in water. But that immediately complexes with the cornstarch, and that turns it blue-black. Another way you could test this is if you took providone iodine, which is sort of orangey dark, and you dropped it on, say, a potato, which has a lot of starch in it, it would also turn blue-black. Enough of the explaining, let's go ahead and do this. I've gathered the necessary ingredients here to do our iodine clock reaction. I'm going to add the cornstarch here to solution 2. I've weighed that out. It's 200 milligrams. And to solution 1, I've weighed out actually 600 milligrams of vitamin C. And that's because the tablet weighed 600 milligrams but contained 500 milligrams of vitamin C in that tablet. So I'm going to put that right here into solution 1. Next, I'm going to add 40 milliliters of pretty warm water. This is not quite boiling, but because of the cornstarch needing some pretty warm water to quote-unquote dissolve, we're going to use that first, since it just came off the hot plate. Add 40 mLs right here. And pour that into solution 2. We'll mix this thoroughly here. As it didn't need quite as hot of water into solution 1, I'm going to use the water secondarily in there, and I need 128 milliliters. So we're going to put 100 milliliters in this graduated cylinder here, and then we'll add 28. We have 100 going into solution 1. In the end, these solutions will even out, of course, to approximately 140 in each one of them. And now to add the remaining 28 to make 128 milliliters. Next, we need 100 milliliters, which I'm going to use this beaker right here, of 3% hydrogen peroxide, which I have in this container. This is over the counter, of course, and obviously easily obtained and very cheap. Okay. The final ingredient into solution 2 is 100 milliliters of hydrogen peroxide. And then finally, I have this small graduated cylinder to measure out the 12 milliliters of providone iodine, which of course will come out very dark. And then we're going to add that, which will clear up as we add it due to the vitamin C that's already into this solution. Boy, I'm making a mess here. And you can see that happened almost instantly. And finally, we're going to add solution 1 and solution 2 into the same beaker. And there we go. So once I poured the solution out of here that had turned dark, I noticed that on the bottom are a bunch of crystals of elemental iodine. Now that's not pure. The iodine would have to be sublimated on a hot surface and collected on a cold surface. But yeah, pretty interesting.